Heat trembles above the pale grass. In this land, survival is not a gift, but a relentless practice of blood and shadow.
A honey badger pushes forward, nose in the dust. It does not hide. It moves with a confidence that defies the very laws of the wild.
The twin. The badger keeps to the shade, testing the wind. Its nose is a radar for chance, sampling.
Ahead, under a patch of thorn and scrub, the masters of endurance rest. A pack of African wild dogs.
It slows, sets its bellow to the sand. Using bushes as screams, the badger,
memory, not muscle, guides its path. It tests a narrow run, slipping through the seam of the pack's territory.
Dogs several recent, bellies full, ears loose. The transition towards sleep is the only invitation the intruder needs.
Near the den entrance, the smell changes. Milk, fresh earth, and the nose confirms what the trail suggested. Pups below.
Enters the dark. A thief in the nursery, where warmth and milk define the first weeks of life.
Born in the dark, where eyes are just beginning to open. Curiosity hasn't yet met the face of danger.
A moment later, it retreated, its jaws full of a struggling badger cub. The cry was high-pitched and urgent.
The sound lifts ears across the shade. The quiet place becomes a storm. In a single heart, the badger accelerates, but the dogs fan and close. They are built for distance, a living net closing its axis.
It drops the pup safely to the ground. There is no outrunning a relay of endurance. It wheels to face the ring.
Voices high and sharp as they coordinate angles. The pack widens, then tightens, testing for a lapse. The badger offers none. It drops its head, lifts its hackles, and braces with claws that bite the ground.
On the edge of the scrub, a dog manages to rake the shoulder. Blood dots the fur, but the thief ignores the sting. It drives forward, shouldering through a gap to force the circle to reset. A defense built from geology and unrestrained rage. The circle breathes in and out. Attack and recoil, while the badger grinds every second into survival. Thick, rubbery skin, dense neck muscles. Teeth slide, bites fail to anchor on the armor of the plains. Even when they hold, the twist breaks the angle. The badger's defense is as much about motion as it is about bone.
It shovels backward to a clump of grass, braces, and counters again. Strength remains, even as time thins.
Behind the front line, the pup is safe. The pack does not need victory, only distance from the intruder. The badger reads the cadence, waits for two to overrun, and bolts through the seam they leave behind. Escape begins as a burst. The wild dogs flood after, snapping to steer the thief away from the nursery. The lead African wild dog strikes, but the badger's defense is built from geology, thick, rubbery skin that refuses to anchor even the sharpest teeth.
The wisdom is ancient. Stand when you must. The badger twists within its own hide.
Dust rises, the pack widens, then tightens. Voices high and sharp as they coordinate angles, looking for a lapse in the badger's iron fortress. Badger offers no lapse. It drops its head and lifts its silver-white hackles, bracing with claws that bite the ground like iron anchors. Carry the legs, steal the breath. The pack tries to deny its stillness, but the badger grinds every second into survival.
Strength remains, though time thins. Within those cold eyes, there is no...
The skin shows fresh tooth marks, yet the badger ignores the sting, shouldering through the circle to force the hunters to reset. A bite released before a surround can lock. The badger drives forward, forcing the circle of rounded ears to break and the coordination to falter. There is no outrunning a relay of endurance. The pack is tireless, bred to run prey into surrender through the slow theft of breath. It shovels backward, using the thorns to limit the angles. Defense is a group project for the dogs, but survival is a lonely craft for the badger. Strategy shifts from kill to attrition. Every movement is a test of stamina, a search for the moment even iron fatigues. It does not wait for the end. It drives through a gap, forcing the mottled wall to break and the machine of endurance to stutter.
Minutes stretch. Heat presses.
In the golden hour, every heartbeat is a gamble paid in blood and silver-white fur.
Claws that bite the ground. A skull like a wedge. The badger's anatomy is a fortress of thick skin and dense muscle.
Even iron fatigues. The badger reads the pack's cadence, waiting for the 1 second where the mottled coordination thins. The circle breathes in and out. The machine of endurance is slowing, its gears grinding against the badger's absolute resolve.
Escape begins as a burst. It waits for two to overrun, seeking the seam they leave behind in their search for a kill. Behind the front line, the job is simple. Keep the future alive. Each move is a lesson in logistics and the price of safety. Bolts. Escape becomes a plan. The honey badger runs low, a ghost in the dust, leaving the tired circle of mottled hunters behind.
The pack floods after, not to kill, but to steer. They only need distance between the silverback thief and the nursery.
It looks back with a snarl, a raw reminder that even in retreat, the badger does not surrender. It merely passes through as a master. The chorus fades. Satisfied to have driven the thief beyond their boundary, the pack returns to the scent of their family. The thief remains whole. Survival is not pride, but practice. It cleans the savannah. In this society, status is duty. They go together, return together, making the road safer for the feet smaller than theirs.
In this world, strength is not measured by size, but by the raw intensity of a spirit that refuses to break.
It does not wait for the next strike. It drives forward, challenging the fortress of the pack with the madness of a lone warrior.
The machine of endurance falters. For the first time, the relay meets a force that ignores the arithmetic of risk. Lowering its center of gravity, the badger transforms into a fortress. It lifts its silver-white hackles. A circle breathes in and out. They test for a lapse, for a gap in the armor. But the badger's defense is built from geology, unyielding and raw. Their teeth slide. Even when they hold, the badger twists within its own loose, rubbery hide to deliver a brutal counterstrike. Its claws are specialized blades. Bracing with a grip that bites the ground, it carves a path through the storm of hunters. The cost of the boundary rises. Every bite is met with a surge of rage. The badger ignores the sting. It only knows the fire within. Minutes stretch. Heat presses. In the golden hour, every heartbeat is a gamble paid in blood and silver-white fur.
Shouldering through the gap, it forces the mottled wall to reset, breaking the rhythm of the tireless relay with pure, unrestrained rage. Even iron fatigues. The machine of coordination is slowing, its gears grinding against an opponent that refuses to recognize surrender.
In those cold eyes, there is no pride, only practice. It waits for the cadence to thin, for the moment the many become the few.
A three-dimensional storm. It strikes in every direction at once, a raw reminder that dominance is never given, only earned in the dirt. They test the stamina of the fortress. But the badger offers no lapse, only short, brutal counters that shatter the intent of the strike. It uses the geology to its advantage. Bracing its soul against the stone, the badger narrows the geometry of the fight. The pack's strategy shifts. They do not need victory, they only need distance. The arithmetic of risk is turning against them. It senses the seam. When the pack overruns, the badger bolts, turning a defense into a plan of absolute escape. Escape begins as a burst. The honey badger runs low, a ghost in the grass, leaving the tired circle of mottled hunters behind. The pack floods after, snapping at the flanks to steer the thief away. Satisfaction is not a kill, but a boundary kept secure. It looks back once. A snarl that tells the story of the untouchable. You made... The chorus fades. The thief is driven beyond the boundary. Survival is not pride, but the next breath taken in peace. It cleans the savannah from its armor. Iron fatigues, but the badger merely resets, ready for the next heartbeat of the wild. Status is a job description. The future is fed first. They return together, a family bound by the memory of the struggle. The untouchable shadow moves on. In a world of giants, the badger stands alone. Go together, return together, and never forget the name of the one who walks through the fire
and remains whole.
When the dust of battle settles, only the truth remains. Survival in this place is not pride.
The honey badger moves on. It carries the marks of the struggle on its jet-black fur, but its spirit is as untouchable as the ancient stones.
Back at the den, the family is whole. African wild dogs live by cooperation and speed. A pack is a family, not a crowd.
For the badger, the hunt never truly ends. It follows the wind, sampling tracks where beetles and lizards. Led most often by an experienced breeding pair, the pack manages risk with distance and timing. Memory, not muscle, closes most arguments.
In this place, survival is built on geology and persistence. The badger returns to its craft, using this. They do not own the land, they pass through it. A world where every blotch and stripe is a... It cleans the dust of the boundary from its armor. In its world, strength is measured in how many...
In that tolerance lies the seed of tomorrow's coordination. They drape a foreleg over a sibling.
The untouchable shadow, a creature that reads the pack's cadence and offers no lapse. The king of the dirt, unbowed and unafraid. As the sun leans into a new day, the road remains.
The hunters spread into a loose line and pour over the scrub like wind. Heads low when scent is thin, heads high when air carries news. Life returns to the shadows, not in defeat, but in the quiet fulfillment of its nature. The ghost of the savannah has moved beyond the boundary.
They spend energy precisely, spending it now to buy shade and vigilance later. In this society, status is a job description, and the job is simple: keep everyone alive.
Youngsters hidden in the cool earth, guarded by a patient aunt. Risk is managed with distance, and life is a group project.
Stand when you must, move when you can. The wisdom is ancient, written in the bones and practiced with every sprint.
A vote without words, a chorus of sneezes to build a quorum. They move not as individuals, but as roles that shift with need. Memory of safe paths is an inheritance. They survive by giving, they guard by being present. The cycle continues.
The flow of food runs uphill and down, regurgitating warm meat to youngsters and nursing females. Cooperation and speed, the signatures of the highest predators. Not because of brute force.
A babysitter stands at the mouth, reading threats in the heat. Strategy practiced for generations becomes culture. In their world, strength is how many you can feed and still run at dawn. The badger walks through the fire and returns whole. They do not need victory, only distance. They survive by giving, and they guard by being present. Memory, not muscle, closes most arguments. The wisdom is simple enough to live in the bones. Coats are maps of identity, every blotch and stripe unique like a fingerprint. Receivers throwing off heat while catching contacts. Survival is not pride, but practice. In this place, practice continues with every breath and every new dawn.
Each move is a lesson in logistics, staying ahead of parasites and predators. Keeping everyone alive is the only trophy.
Energy is the coin of their world. They spend it precisely, with the wisdom of generations etched into every stride.
The road is safer for the feet that are smaller than yours. Go together, return together. Vigilance is a shell economy. Many eyes shorten surprise, ensuring the future is fed and protected.
Thick, rubbery skin and a skull like a wedge. Anatomy built for geology, and a heart built for the fight.
Memory of safe paths is an inheritance. Stand when you must, move when you can.
A frenzy that resets fatigue into purpose. The bond is not sentimental, it is strategic, practiced for generations.
One body buys time for another. The cycle remains unbroken. The spirit of the savannah remains untouchable. Go together, return together. Make the road safer. For the legacy that lives in the bones.